Alright guys, we are still in lesson 4.10 to 4.12, triangle congruency proofs. We're moving on to some more examples. Work these with me. See if you can kind of anticipate what my next move will be in the proof. We started off by setting up my T-chart for my statements and my reasons. Now I'm going to go back and start trying to digest my given information. C is the midpoint of AE. So there's AE. C is my midpoint. So by definition of midpoint, I know that those are congruent segments. I'm going to have to put that into my proof. Then I've been given that AB is congruent to DE. So AB, DE. The notation will help me visualize what I will use for congruency. BC is congruent to DC. Well, then when I look at all my notation, I see that I have side, side, side triangle congruency. Now that I know how I'm going to prove it, I'm ready to start my proof. So I'm going to start off with that first statement that I used. C is the midpoint of AE, of segment AE. That was given to me. I used that given information to notate that AC is congruent to EC. I used my definition of midpoint to add that notation. For step 3, I'm going back to my given. Same thing for step 4. I have that BC is congruent to DC. Once I had all my notation on the triangles, I could visualize that my triangles ABC and triangle EDC were congruent. And I could see that it was from side, 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 triangle congruency theorem. Again, you can pause the video to digest that a little bit. And I'm going to move on to the next example. Okay, set up my T-chart. I got to prove those triangles are congruent. I'll have statements and reasons. And let's see. I'm going to start off by trying to digest information they've given me. AD is parallel to BC. So that's AD here. I like to extend them. I'm going to try to do a better job of that. Not much better. BC. Okay, so these are my parallel lines. Whenever I have parallel lines in a diagram like this, that means I got parallel lines and transversals. Not much better. Whenever I've got parallel lines set up in my given information, I'm going to have to use something like alternate interior angles or something along those lines in order to conduct the proof. Okay, so let's see what else can I mark on this diagram. I've got some vertical angles. Oops. I've got some vertical angles here. Doesn't want to let me mark it. Okay. Vertical angles that are congruent. I also am going to have, let's see, alternate interior angles. That's all going to be congruent. I know that AD is also congruent to BC. Okay, it's starting to act a little funny here. But let's see, I've got an angle on this side. If I had this angle right here and this one, I could do angle, angle, side. Oh, I can mark those as congruent angles because those are alternate interior angles. So I can do this one and this one. Look at the colors, and that's from alternate interior angles. Okay, I'm ready to start my proof. So now I'm going to do angle, angle, side. So I'm going to start off with step 1, the AD. Oh, guys. Let's see here. It's parallel to BC, and that was given. Based on that, I've got those parallel lines and transversals, and I've set up that I've got angle ADB is congruent, or that's an E. Yeah, ADE is congruent to angle CEB. That's my alternate interior angles theorem. Says they're congruent. Then I have the AD was congruent to BC, and that was given. So I have angle AED is congruent to angle CEB, and that was my vertical angles theorem. So then finally I was able to make my statement: triangle ADE is congruent to triangle CBE with my angle side triangle congruency theorem. You can digest it by pausing it. This is going to be one of our last examples. So I'm going to look at this. Given AD is congruent to BC, okay. DC is congruent to AB, and I can add that this is congruent to each other because of the reflexive property. So I'm ready. I know that's going to be side, 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 triangle congruency. So I have the AD is congruent to BC, and I have the DC is congruent to AB. That was my given information for number 1. Number 2, I knew that AC was congruent to CA. That's my reflexive. Property of congruency. So I know that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CDA. That was my side, side, side triangle congruency theorem. Pause to digest if you need. Come back and we're going to finish this up. Now this diagram looks like it got double copied, but even if I were to take it off of this, just make a flat picture, just like redraw it. And I labeled my vertices. Oh, that was terrible. That's slightly better. Now, if I look at this one and I go back and I start looking at my given information, angle A is congruent to angle C. Okay, and mark that. AC is congruent to CD. Well, all right, I'm going to think about that. Either there's a typo, or I'm thinking, okay, this and this whole blue are congruent. Prove triangle BCD is congruent to BAD. I don't even think that I can do that. So even if this was, instead of AC, if this was supposed to be AD, let's look at that. Now let's see what happens if we change that to AD. I can't prove it that way. Okay, I've got that, and I've got that. I also would know that I have my reflexive property in play here. But then I've got side-side angle, or, as we have seen it, So there is no angle, side, side, or side, side, angle, triangle, congruency theorem. So this one I have not enough info. I'm going to tell you that I think there's probably been a typo here somewhere and it's just not set up right. And we don't normally give you the proof and say there's not enough info. That would be more of a multiple choice question maybe on a test. But I think it's good to look at a situation like this and just evaluate that. All right, guys, that's all I have for you on triangle congruency proofs. If you have any questions, please be sure to hit me up through It's Learning or to bring them to class. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye.